everyone. Welcome to our new battle report. So first of all, looking at the map, I guess orientation. So north is in this direction here, just off the actual orientation of the board of the short edge. So it is in that direction there. North is to Catania and also to Primosole Bridge itself. And distance from this, which is the Johnny 1 feature, to Primosole Bridge is just over 1 kilometre. So, talking about the features itself, this large feature which dominates our model is the Johnny 1 feature. To the west, at the bottom of the hill of this feature, which is off this table, lies Highway 114, which is the highway that runs basically north to south and crosses the Primosole Bridge. And you can see that in our other battle report which we posted, the actual battle for the bridge. So check that out. On the western side of Highway 114 we have a second small feature which is Johnny 2. And to the southeast of the Johnny 1 position we've got the lower slopes which are depicted here. This is a depiction of the lower slopes of the Johnny 3 feature, which carries on to a very long feature which runs in this direction here, and these just represents the lower slopes of that feature itself. So moving back to some features in detail. So firstly, around the area we've got some vineyards. The area is also covered by some arable farmlands, some cropping and stuff like that going on. This building here, represented by this model, is a 7-room farm building, and this is the building which was taken over early in the battle as the medical dressing station by men of the Parachute Field Ambulance, which you can hear more about in our podcast, episodes 3A and particular 3B on Operation Houston and the Battle for Primosole Bridge. Some more on that later, some more details. The slope itself, as you can see, goes up to the top and the plateau of the Johnny feature, this being Johnny 1. And at the top we can see the trench works and so on and so forth, the defences which have been prepared by the Sicilian Coastal Division, the Italian Coastal Division. At the top there is a farm building, and it is enclosed by a courtyard with a track running off for access down to the bottom to the west of the Johnny feature, Johnny 1. We can see there that the entrenchments and sandbagging and so on continue. Also, going up the hill, you can see a number of caves. In this case, we've depicted them by 3 separate caves. Those are common specific for the scenario, for this particular scenario. But those caves featured heavily because they were occupied by Italian soldiers for rest and also getting out of the elements from their positions at the top there. So very important. And we have some specific rules which we'll talk to you on the way, and we hope you enjoy that. So again, fields running up the hill, farmers utilising the field. These here are going to be, they represent areas of boulders and so on and so forth that are too large to be withdrawn by the farmers for ploughing, so they've been ploughed around, and they've got areas of scrub around them as well, so there'll be hard cover during this. The areas of grey on the hills, we've depicted those as picked them out specially. So those would be areas which would be rough terrain on the way up. And again, some of these rocks at the bottom here will also be hard terrain, depending of course on which angle the fire comes from, like any other cover. So down here in the valley to the southeast between the Johnny 2 and Johnny 3 features, sorry, Johnny 1 and Johnny 3 features, we've got the old farmhouse to the southeast, and this came into play throughout the battle as well, important for cover and concealment for the approach of the various forces in this engagement and then the subsequent engagement by General Fallschirmjäger when they attacked the British Airborne after they held the feature as well. So that's about the roundup for the model. Join us back soon and we'll talk about our armies. See you soon. Bye. Welcome back. First of all, let's talk about the Italian army taken from the defence of Sicily. We've got a couple of changes. First of all, the Italians in this have got pre-prepared positions, so they will be foregoing some of the rules, army-specific rules. So the only army-specific rule which the Italian army will be using in this scenario is Avanti Savoia. They will be foregoing, as I say, the ability to prevent the enemy units from running in the first turn, as well as that the other rules about positions and so on and so forth. So first of all, 10 order dice, 760 odd points. We've got a first lieutenant. He is regular. We've got a veteran captain, one of the First World War veterans that's been recalled after retirement, and a veteran radio operator as his Batman. We have got a medic, regular of course, armed with a pistol. We have got a veteran sniper team, counted as a marksman. In this scenario, considered to be marksman that was pulled out probably due to mobility issues getting around the battlefield. However, very experienced man, probably a veteran from the First World War or a hunter, and so forth, from the Sicily farmlands. So the next squad back, we have got a regular squad, 10 men. The NCO has a SMG. We've got the LMG and the remainder in the 10-man unit, all with rifles. Behind them we have got an inexperienced and green squad. Contains LMG. It's an 8-man squad in total. Can be picked out by their early pattern helmets. And the NCO is actually armed with a rifle, not a pistol, just to separate them for game purposes. Behind him, another departure from the Axis selector. We have got 2 MMGs. We have got the 75-27 artillery piece, a light howitzer. And the guy with the telescope there on the right foreground is the spotter. One thing I forgot to mention, the command groups are armed with rifles. And at the back here, this is representative. We have a representation of the squad which may appear in the caves, and you will have read about that in scenario specific rules, and you'll hear us refer to it throughout the game itself as well. So join us in a second and we'll talk about the British Airborne. Hey, welcome back. So now the British Airborne in particular, although there's some mixed force, we're talking about majority of them being from the 2nd Parachute Battalion. So firstly, command group. In this case, this officer, First Lieutenant, and his aide is representing Lieutenant Tony Franks, who led the impromptu assaults using some airborne initiative on Johnny 2 and Johnny 1 features, and doing so being awarded the Military Cross. So who has he got with him to lead himself up the hill? So first person we've got the Naval Bombardment Detachment. So Veer Hodge and his aide. So these guys' mission in this will be covered in the scenario, but basically they need to finish the game ideally within, or they need to finish the game within 18 inches of the building at the top of the feature in order to qualify for being able to use his antenna to call HMS Newfoundland, call in artillery in the next scenario. So a little bit of a linked campaign there. Next we've got a sniper team. We've got a Piat team. We've got a 10-man squad, 9-man squad, an 8-man squad, and at the back we have got a 5-man squad as well. So 8 dice, 760 points. Small unit engagement. A lot of people might not realise is that in the actual engagement itself, Lieutenant Franks assaulted both Johnny 2 and Johnny 1 features with a total of 22 men and 3 officers. Great, so join us back soon and we'll carry on with our setup for the scenario. Thanks guys. Hey, welcome back. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw the 3 counters. I've got 4 counters in the bag as per the scenario. As you will know, you would have read, 3 out of 4 of the counters are drawn blind by the defender, who then checks and makes sure what he's got. Remember, there's only 1 counter in the bag that has a unit on it. X marks the spot. The remainder are blank or have a tick on them. The X means, of course, that a unit can be positioned to come out of that cave later on, considered from outflank, so from turn 3 onwards, without the -1 for outflanking, however, on their leadership test. So, I've got them in my hand here. There's still 1 in the bag, and I'm going to have a look now, and then I'll grab the camera and I'll show you people at home what we've got. Hey, so a bit of a quick reveal for you guys at home. Here's what I've drawn out of the bag. So I keep the secrets from the Allied player, from the British Airborne player, and on deployment I'm going to place them into the caves. Join us back soon and we'll get into our deployment. Rex is now going to place his chosen main objective into a secret place as well that can be revealed later.
Right, Dan's left the building. It's my chance now to reveal which is my primary objective as per the scenario rules. So we have 3 objectives here. One is this machine gun emplacement or heavily fortified emplacement there. The second one is the building itself. And the third one is this machine gun or fortification down here. And I have chosen this one here.
Hey, welcome back to Pregame Deployment. So, British Airborne got a lot of dice out of the bag pretty early on. So as you know from our deployment for the scenario, it can be deployed 6 inches onto the board in the L shape of that short edge and this long edge here. So, the 9-man paratrooper squad is here, and looking up the hill, that's their journey onwards and upwards. Over here we have got the 5-man paratrooper squad, the First Lieutenant Tony Franks, and we've got the sniper squad there as well. Up here, 8-man paratrooper squad, looking across from the foothills of Johnny 3 towards Johnny 1, coming around the board, coming in from the north, we have got the Piat team and the Naval Bombardment Detachment via Hodge. And we've also got the 10-man paratrooper squad as well. Looking up the hill now, and their journey upwards towards the objectives. So, the Italians. 10-man regular squad. Just the area of the plateau there, a standing patrol. We have got the one of the MMGs. We've got the captain and his aide. We've got the light howitzer. We've got the sniper. So looking at his vantage point. But it's important to understand his line of sight as well to the right. And looking out over the valley to the left as well. So behind him on the higher ground we've got the First Lieutenant and we've got the medic. We've got the 8-man inexperienced and green squad Remembering they're within the 6-inch rule we've got for the scenario specific rules, so they are within leadership range of their NCO, and they're considered to be in coherency whilst in those defensive positions for that reason. And we've got the second MMG as well. So, just talking about the down dice here, that represents the squad that may or may not be in the caves, dependent on our draw of the counters. So if I walk around the front now of the feature itself, and we'll have a quick look in the cave, making sure that our opponent doesn't get to see what's on the counters. That's the first cave. Second. And the last one. Okay, so that summarizes pretty much the deployment. Welcome back to the end of turn 1. So the British Airborne got the first dice given to the platoon commander. They ran from position behind that hedge up to there. He'd snapped 2 in order to get his men out of the open and reduce the risk. So a large paratrooper squad also ran up, as did the sniper, and they have all taken cover behind the abandoned derelict farmhouse. And you can see a bit of an approximate sort of field of view for them too. However, what that did then is that sparked an action on the next dice from the Italians. And the Italian marksman, who is situated here, then had line of sight to the sniper team, opened fire on them, hit them, put the pin on. However, unfortunately rolled a 1 for damage. The MMG team here opened up on the British Airborne unit down there in sight now at the bottom of the Johnny feature there. They were a little bit further up the slope. They opened fire at them there, put a pin on them, caused no casualties unfortunately. Later on that British Airborne unit shrugged it off and ran down to the bottom of the hill there, so they're down in the re-entrant as well. Trying to approach the cover lying at the bottom of the feature here. Right, zoom back out over here. The Italian regular squad opened fire on the Piat team, who had advanced behind the cart down there. Soft cover, unfortunately missed. The MMG team here opened fire on the large squad over here. They went down. However, before that had happened, the light howitzer had opened fire on them, hit, and caused 3 casualties and put 2 pins on them. So the British Airborne unit here advanced forward into the open at last. So now they're clear of these obstacles in the middle of the night. They got a chance to advance on the base of the Johnny feature. Other things that happened, the command squad here, they went into ambush. The medic ran around from the side of the building to get closer to a number of units here, number of infantry units, provides some protection against small arms fire. And the first lieutenant moved into the courtyard here, where he can see a few squads here. Better give his leadership to them, but also perhaps doing a chain reaction on snap 2s from the company commander over there as well on this side. So, not a bad turn for both armies. The British Airborne closing the distance, the Italians putting a few pins onto some units, So it's a pretty good turn all round, shaping up to be fairly realistic. And join us back in a minute and we'll see how turn 2 goes. Thanks guys. Hey, welcome back to the end of turn 2. So, first dice of the turn, Rex pulled it, gave it to the British Airborne sniper, who took a shot at the sniper or marksman for the Italians, missed. In return, the Italians didn't fire back, took cover and passed on their order dice to the LMG up here as they pulled it next. Sorry, the MMG. MMG opened fire on the squad which was in the open down there, hit it, no kills though. That squad then moved into dead ground, but a dead ground here at the base of Johnny 1, and they got some good hard cover there. So the squad over here on the far end of the table tried to advance across that brick wall, had 2 pins on it though, failed its leadership test and had to go down. So in a fairly safe position anyway to go down, but not the ideal for Rex when he wanted to move up the hill. This large paratrooper squad that was back there started by the gate, just out of the field, took advantage to cross the open ground in the killing area as well, and again get into the foot of Johnny 1, and you can see they're in some pretty good dead ground there as well, up the slope there, so that standing patrol and the fixed positions haven't got a particularly great line of sight to them at the moment. However, when they choose to advance, as they must do up to that hill, they're going to be in a precarious position in the open. The Piat team came from where it was around the back of the cart at the farm here, advanced up the hill, actually run up the hill, and they're in a position now to put some pressure on, but they are in the open again as well. This standing patrol here for the Italians moved around to the front of the feature, so it's got a better view of both approaches that Rex is taking from the north and the east. The MMG at the top here opened fire on that Piat team before it moved. Didn't do anything. The Piat team actually had hard cover from that direction behind the cart, abandoned by the side of the farm building there. The light howitzer turned in place and decided to open fire on the sniper, trying to put it on the clock and counting down to hitting it. Rex saw what was happening and he quickly gave the next order dice to his officer, snapped 2, moved the officer away and into some cover down there, and also advanced the small paratrooper unit, which is now advancing up the bottom of Johnny 1. That then basically triggered the line of sight coming to the killing area of this large inexperienced squad up here in the trenches and defences up here. They opened fire, however poor shooting due to inexperience, and just the LMG hit, put a pin on, managed to kill 1 guy, and he's down to 4 men there now. The remainder of the units for the Italians went into ambush, not much to fire at this stage, and we'll decide what to do, probably take those ambushes off, and yeah, going into turn 3, pretty interesting place. The unit that potentially is in the caves, as we know, being turn 2, they have an outflanking type move to come into the table, so as we know, that marker denotes that squad that potentially might be in the caves. Of course, the opposing player doesn't know that, so the down order had to be placed on them. So looking forward to turn 3, all to play for. The Airborne are setting themselves up for a good push up the hill now, but the Italians in a fairly strong fire positions, got some good arcs there, that when the British Airborne move from where they are currently, they'll be in some good spots. Thanks for that, we'll talk to you again soon. Hey, welcome back to the end of turn 3. So first dice out of the bag was Italians. They had pivoted the light howitzer Again, like previous turn, had a shot at the sniper down there, and using the spotter this turn, they did it again. However, unfortunately missed, needing a 4 next turn if we get the opportunity. Hopefully we do. The sniper started to flap a wee bit, seeing rounds ranging in around him. Didn't like that too much, decided to shoot at the spotter. Luckily for the Italians, missed. So then the next dice was pretty important for down here. So the Piat team, of course, was coming up the slope. The Italian regular squad ran down just in range, wiped out the Piat team, then consolidated backwards. Only 4 inches was the roll though. The next dice then was given to Rex. His paratrooper squad advanced from the dead ground at the bottom of Johnny 1. Closed range just out of 12 inches, so therefore he was just outside of point blank. However, some deadly rolling. Saw basically 5 men lost to one lot of shooting, and then another man lost to the LMG. The rifle was particularly effective. Sorry, the SMG's really effective. They are the ones who wiped out 5 guys. Another one taken off by the LMG. So we had to take a check. Luckily we passed that. And those dice rolls there were rolled by Jessica, Rex's daughter. So absolutely fantastic, victorious moment for her. Didn't sell her father out, unfortunately, no matter how much I tried to bargain with her. So down here, the paratrooper squad finally passed, advanced, dropped a pin as well. That's going to be useful, but still got the that fenced across there as well, that walled across. Right, so Veer Hodge, he was at the base of this hill here, a bit going up the slope. Once the Italians closed in down there, he advanced backwards, tried to open up with SMGs for him and his aide. However, unfortunately, just out of range, so the Italians got off there. Over here, the MMG, now that the paratrooper squad had come up the hill, really advantageous position for them. However, absolutely abysmal dice rolling, didn't do anything. The medic went into ambush. The officer here and his aide opened up on the paratrooper squad, put a pin on, no casualties though. The sniper, a bit of a hilarious moment. So couldn't get line of sight to the officer squad, which was at the bottom of this this little ravine behind the tree. So it decided to open up on the large paratrooper squad, which you could see over there, in the hope that we could maybe pull off the NCO or the LMG. However, foobarred. But unfortunately, no squads, friendly squads within 12 had that were visible, had an enemy unit within 12 of them. So they then had to go down. But quite a comical moment there. Over here, the MMG opened fire on the squad down below, hard cover. Didn't manage to achieve anything. And the inexperienced squad here in the sandbag and defences tried the same. Again, didn't achieve anything, hoping for a lucky pin. So we have the large SMG heavy paratrooper squad advancing up from below towards the defences here. It's in quite a good position to maybe do some damage, just out of range of most of the SMGs this turn, but that could be very important going into next turn. So thanks very much. That was turn 3. Join us back here now for turn 4. So I put it on the guys in the caves, if there is a unit in the caves, for Rex to find out. So I rolled an 8, so they pass. Here we go. There's no -1 to reserves for units in the caves in the rules, we've decided. So here we go. No, so it's not there. Could it be here, Rex? Nope, it's not there either. So do we have a unit at all in the caves? Oh yes, yes we do. And they're going to come out and they're going to shoot you in the face. Join us back and we'll see how that goes for us. Hey, welcome back to the end of turn 4. So first dice out of the bag was Italians. Going to the regular squad on the hill, it was down to 4 men, 2 pins. Unfortunately rolled their leadership test. We found that the captain on the hill was 2 inches out of range, and therefore they failed their leadership test, had to go down. Second dice out of the bag was the large paratrooper squad, which then assaulted them and wiped them out, consolidated 3 inches up the hill in a little bit of a precarious position, one would have thought. However, the MMG up here opened up on them, and all it achieved was a single pin. Right, next then the sniper over here, which is no longer there, but attempted to hit the spotter for the light howitzer. But failed to wound. In return, the light howitzer passed its leadership test, removed the pin, and managed to hit the sniper and his aide and the spotter, killing both of them. So another order dice to the Italians. On the slopes over here, paratrooper squads moving up the hill. So this one here moved up closed range so that SMG heavy units could fire at the inexperienced squad here in the trench. Wiped out 4 guys. In return, the MMG and the inexperienced squad fired back, killed a couple of guys and put on 2 pins. Hopefully that will be telling in the next turn when they come to take a leadership test. Remember, this MMG position is one of the key points that needs to be held. At the moment I'm holding it, but it's going to be really tense next turn to see what happens. So the small squad here moved up the hill, and again they tried to shoot at this squad here. Didn't do much. The first lieutenant went into ambush here. The officer over here fired down the hill at these guys here, put a pin on them, failed to wound. The medic went into ambush, and the sniper and his aide, his spotter, fired at that paratrooper squad. We called it close range. It was pretty obvious that he couldn't use a sniper scope. Correctly measured. When we measured, hit whoever failed to wound. And we resolved the caves as you saw. So the squad came out of the caves. The paratrooper squad there was at a 3-man unit. At the time they emerged, they opened fire on them at point blank range, killing 1 guy, putting a pin on, little else. But if we just zoom back there, it's a really precarious position for both the command squad and that remains of that paratrooper squad now. Surely within 6 inches, only a measurement will tell, but using the Mark 1 eyeball, looks like a really tense position. So I'd say whoever gets the first dice may be looking in that area in turn 5 to see what they're going to do. Thanks very much. We're in a really tense position here. That's where the rubber meets the road. Turn 5 is going to be really, really interesting. We hope you're enjoying as much as we are playing it, and we'll see you back here for turn 5. Back to the first couple of dice of turn 5. So first dice out was Italian again. They assaulted the 2-man paratrooper squad over here. Luckily wiped them out in combat. Only got a 2-inch consolidation and have just consolidated backwards slightly, hopefully to give themselves a little bit more protection. Next dice out of the bag though was British Airborne, given to the paratrooper squad here. The SMG heavy one ran up to the obstacle. There's actually a completely unopposed charge because the nearest guy was standing just outside of that sandbag. So run forward. Anyway, the SMGs dealt heavy casualties. The inexperienced Italians melted away and died to a man just from the SMG attacks, let alone anybody else rolling. They got a 3-inch consolidation, consolidated along the trench, and now the next dice out of the bag is Italians. So really precarious position here. The British Airborne have done really well. Got the dice in my hand here, and I'm going to roll them. So needing, we've had to turn there, so we're taking a -1, but point blank, so needing 3s. We're manning right up against the wall there of the sandbag, so no cover from that actual sandbag itself. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see, it's needing 3s. Ooh. Alright, 4 hits, then 5s. Oops. There you go. Hazards of filming. Yeah, unfortunately that's cocked. Hey, Lady Luck says yes. Alright, 1 dead guy chance of an exceptional. No, 1 dead guy. Alright, that's better than nothing. Join us back and we'll see what else happens. Hi guys, welcome back to turn 5 in progress. This is actually the end of the turn. Obviously we rounded up a few of the dice already. Next important dice to come out of the bag was this one here for Rex. So British Airborne dice came out. He advanced and opened fire on the MMG team. Managed to kill 2 of the team and put a pin on them. So they're now on last man. So -1s, and also got 2 pins on them in total now. Looking at the squad itself, it's now pretty close. When we measured it for range, Rex actually could have charged. Very, very unlucky because it was just millimeters out. He made judgment call. However, in a really good place next turn to move on that objective. Down here, the other paratrooper squad is finally in some open ground, running up the lower slopes of Johnny 1, and again, they've got some ground to cover, but looking pretty good. We also have naval bombardment attachments. Severe Hodge moved up using some really, really clever cover there, getting in the cave, just staying out far enough to identify themselves to the other paratroopers coming up the hill, make sure no one lobs in a hand grenade as they clear cave mouth as they come up to it, and they go onwards and upwards. Yeah, looking at the top of the hill, the howitzer, they ran last turn, so basically pivoted around on a point, and the spotter ran to the edge of the hill so that it's got some vision. He's got some vision down the slope towards the advancing enemy there. Looking over here, as we know, we've left this in a real tight place. That's going to be a fantastically important dice at the start of next game. Whoever wants to make a move there. And we have got the officer here moved out of sort of harm's way behind that hedge. Opened fire on the squad of inexperienced guys, inexperienced Italians. Killed 1, put a pin on. So again, all valuable pin. In return, the sniper squad up here and the officer opened fire at the officer's squad here for the British Airborne, and they've got a total of 2 pins on them. And the last unit is the first lieutenant in here in the compound. He's got some line of sight outwards towards the impending doom of the British Airborne coming up there. And since, as you know, this is a 6-turn game with a potential 7th turn, a bit of a roundup now is required on the objectives. So first one, this one here, which is a machine gun pit, the rounded sandbag position. So that one is actually contested at the end of turn 5. Over here, the building, which is the footprint of that building, not the compound, is being held by the Italians. And down the far end is the sandbag position. Again, the MMG pit there, so that is held by the Italians as well, going at the end of turn 5. However, as we know, that could all change the positions of the troops on the ground. Rex is in full flight now, and the Italians are in a really tough place. But not only that, as per the objective, but Rex has got a secret 1 objective that he no longer needs to hold 2. If he holds the 1 which he's written down, then that will be a game winner as well. So it's on a knife edge here. I've had a lot of fun so far. Join us back now for the roundup or highlights of turn 6. Back. First dice, turn 6 goes to Rex, goes to assault the MMG position with 1 guy on the MMG team, 2 pins on him, takes order dest, and and fails and has to go down, unfortunately. Alright, second dice out of the bag also goes to Rex, the British Airborne. In this position here, they've now assaulted the MMG position here. Alright, Rex, let's focus on the dice tray, needing 4s to kill.
Okay, SMGs, the black ones here.
Go for it.
Tough fighter. 1 kill.
1 dead guy, right. Okay.
So simultaneous.
Simultaneous. Join us back in a minute. Alright. So 3 attacks back from the Italian MMG team. Also getting 1 kill on the veteran British Airborne. So Rex, we're tied. So kill me some more, my friend. Simultaneous again this combat. So I'm taking it you would have taken one of the rifle guys, or the rifle guy, because otherwise you're mad. So tough fighter swings. This is simultaneous, but you've got tough fighter.
Not a thing.
Okay, and I'll have one of these dice.
2
guys.
Oh.
And I win.
3-man MMG team kills 5-man.
Italians, they're fierce in defence. Alright, join us back again for some more highlights. Hey guys, welcome back to one of the final dice of turn 6. Via Hodge, seeing the attack had broke down on the MMG position, took his other member as naval bombardment detachment, and they have assaulted the MMG position, of which there's only 1 man left in the MMG team. Here they are clambering over the defences. So Rex, why don't you roll some dice and let's see the result. Tough fighter. Oh!
But it's
simultaneous. He kills. Yep.
Simultaneous, so...
Simultaneous, I'll get 1 attack back. Won't be enough to destroy the naval bombardment team as a whole. And there we go. So Via Hodge storms the position himself. What a hero, what a legend. And that also puts him not only in that objective, but holding, within 18 inches of that house, which is one of his conditions for the for playing the campaign. Remembering, of course, that medics are not scoring, so that medic there cannot contest that objective within 3 inches. So it's all exciting stuff here. We'll join us back in a minute. Alright, welcome back to the end of turn 6. Could it be the end of the game? We'll see in a minute. So, first of all, we saw the results of combat there, and we know the result of the combat in the MMG position over here. Other things of note that have happened, a lot of things we've covered so far. However, another one of note, that large paratrooper squad has run up the slope there, so it too is threatening the British defences there on the hill. And yeah, got a lot of guys consolidate, a couple of dice consolidate up there for the Italians. So it's on a knife edge, so let's look at how we hold it. So first of all, the British Airborne hold this position here, the northern position. The house is being held by the Italians, thanks to the artillery. And the southern MMG position is being held by the Italians as well. So at the moment the Italians are in a winning position. Of course, it matters immensely which objective is the key objective that Rex has chosen and nominated, which we may reveal shortly, but it will definitely be revealed at the end. So we need to roll a dice and see whether it's the end of the game or not. So we've got a able assistant here. So a beautiful assistant will roll the dice and see what score we get. Oh, it's a 2. So the game finishes. Alright, join us back in a minute as Rex reveals the key objective to us. So once again, our beautiful assistant, Rex's wife Robin, she's got the secret objective marker or a note that we've secreted earlier. She's going to reveal it to us now. Go on, Robin, what does it say? Open it up. So I remember probably say north, south, middle or something like that, some sort of connotation.
NEM.
NEM. That's got to be the northern end machine gun position. Am I right, Rex?
You are right. Let's have a look at the northern end machine gun position and who holds that position.
Alright, well it must be a bit of a family effort at the end there. So Robin, your dice rolling and revealing that for us has revealed that your husband Rex and the British Airborne have won the game. Not only that, Via Hodge, who actually assaulted that position, has therefore won the game, has got within 18 inches of the building, and can therefore be on the high ground, and in the campaign can call in naval bombardments if he fixes his wireless in the next campaign game from HMS Newfoundland. Thanks very much. Join us back in a second for a bit of a roundup. Hey, welcome back again. Endgame roundup this time. So there he is, the man of the moment, Veer Hodge, the game winner, British Airborne. The Italians capitulating on the heights, much like in the real situation where 23 men, British Airborne, the Italians badly led and starting to get badly beaten. They captured over 120 Italian prisoners, and they ended up holding the prisoners inside the courtyard at the top there at the farmhouse. But anyway, let's hear from the victor. So Rex, why don't you give us some highlights and how do you think it went?
Firstly, great game. Thanks Dan, thanks for the terrain, and it was a team effort on the big hill there. So I certainly think it looked nice to me at least, and I think it was a great game as well. I'm glad we play tested it yesterday. So this game has just gone off perfectly and without a hitch. Well balanced, and just a fun game right down to the wire. So I had an interesting point down at this game where my guys came on between two pieces of intervening terrain here, and it took them all the game, all 5 turns, just to get to here. They failed an order check at one point, so that was a really tense point down there. This is a long slope to get up here. It's a long way to the top, which in some ways makes it surprising that I did choose this for my primary objective, because there's such a lot of terrain there that's unguarded. But at least the terrain is not rough ground, so at least it can be ran over. On this side here, it's interesting to see you've got a lot of hard cover, a lot of dead zones where you can't actually see down, or dead ground where you can't actually see down from the reinforcements up here, and it gives you the opportunity to get in close once you get across this open ground. But then with this band here being difficult terrain, it's very difficult to get up, and then you're more or less in short range. So quite tricky to get up there, and I certainly paid the price, even though I got one of my big squads up here in the end. They were defeated by a 3-man MMG team. So by the time the attritional damage was done all the way up, you took care of me for sure, Dan. Here, this is one of my favourite parts of the terrain piece. It looks like a bit of a staircase, rocky staircase going up. But again, most of it difficult ground, difficult to get up out of, and especially difficult when you have a team of 5 men, I think it was, pop out of this cave. So very unexpected, and I certainly hadn't planned for it for some reason. I just had naturally assumed that this was the cave they were going to come out of. So poor assumptions on my part, and I think it was just because that's my favourite cave. So not a good reason to plan strategy at all. But yeah, I think the Italians fought valiantly. The inexperienced guys held their ground right to the very last man, and the howitzer definitely did some damage, and I thoroughly enjoy the game. Thanks very much, Dan, and in a minute I'll come to you and you can give me your thoughts on where it was that you thought you went right and where you went wrong, and why it was that I so comprehensively beat you in that last turn. So Dan, what were your thoughts about that game? How do you feel? How do you think you went? How were the Italians? Tell us all about it.
Yeah, look, I thought that was a great game. Thanks very much. And credit where credit's due. So everyone, I didn't make these hills. Rex made these hills. They're absolutely fantastic. I assisted some of the painting, the flocking and stuff like that. But these are constructed by Rex. So first of all, without this beautiful board to play on, it wouldn't have been so fantastic. So thank you, Rex. Credit where credit's due. Apart from that, look, the game was fantastic. It was loads of fun. Went right down to the wire. Yeah, a couple of times I thought the Italians were going to hold on to this hill, but unfortunately the feature fell to the British Airborne. I think I could have possibly set up a bit better. During the game, I actually in particular felt that I should have set up my experienced squad over here, and the reason for that is because there's actually open ground over there for longer, and your guys had an open sort of way they could come there. I noticed you put a lot of guys through there, and I think I would have had more time to shoot at you. And if they're experienced guys, in other words, the regular infantry squad here along with the regular MMG, then I thought I could have done some more damage to the squads over there. And during the game I was actually ruining it. As it turned out, I think I probably held up units over there, or was enough of a threat with the regular squad to actually do something, especially now with the knowledge that Rex's secret objective was this one here. So I think it probably worked out better than it felt like it was during about turns 3 and 4, because I was really ruining the fact that I was hitting almost nothing with the inexperienced guys over here. Yeah, it's challenging. It's challenging for the Italians, just like it was in the real thing. It's also challenging for the British, just like it was in the real thing. I think the Italians, you know, having standing patrols out gives you a much better chance to contact the Brits earlier as they're approaching. One can only assume that, you know, during the drop they'd sent out standing patrols, something like that, and they were alerted somewhat, although they still had plenty of men in the caves. So, you know, the fact they had guys out there and I was trying to play a collapsing defence made it much more interesting, and tried to do my best there. A failed auto check here got them wiped out by this courageous airborne unit here. So yeah, but in conclusion, it couldn't have gone any more exciting. It couldn't have gone down to the wire any more than what it did. Thanks very much, Rex. Hope you guys enjoyed it at home. The conclusion was historical. The game wasn't played to be a simulation, but the same result. So I guess airborne determination and resilience got us there in the end. But thanks everybody for watching. We really hope you enjoyed this instalment, and join us in for the next instalment on our podcast on valhallagames.net, www.valhallagames.net, and join us back here on our YouTube channel for the next battle report. Thanks, guys.
Right, I'm just going to track the route that was followed by our man that won the day, up around here, past the fantastic little cart there, up this rocky outcrop, taking cover in this slight indentation here, where if you have a look up you can see that it's got good hard cover from above. So I think he managed to get cover up there, and then tracking up around through open ground where the squad is now, and then for a moment they paused in the cave trying to decide whether to go on or maybe just wait the battle out there, and then up over the top, right up into this machine gun emplacement, and at that point the rest of the British Airborne must have seen what was happening, gritted down, got on with it, pushed up over and pushed the Italians off and captured the remaining guys. So there he is, victorious and ready for the next scenario.